Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 10 of my Trading 212 portfolio. So yeah, it's been a good month and I bought 2 new stocks, so let's get into it. So it's been about 6 weeks and I'm filming on the Tuesday of I think it's the 9th, and it will be coming out on the Sunday, so certain things will be happening. I do have 4 out of my 8 stocks which have earnings reports in the next 2 days, which is great, by the way. It makes me feel really comfortable. But either way, it's a long-term portfolio I'm holding for years plus. But obviously good earnings means good future results, hopefully. But yeah, it's been about 2 months since I last did one of these and I have seen significant growth. Now I have added £250 over the last kind of 2 months or so, and as you'll see, the account value is pretty much substantially a lot higher than that. But before we get started guys, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button down below. I really do appreciate that, and you can obviously see future portfolio updates going forward and kind of see how it grows, etc, etc. So also over the last 2 months I have bought and sold quite a few kind of positions to kind of average down, to rebalance, but we'll go through that as we go through the portfolio. But yeah, let's just jump straight into the portfolio. So here we are, we're on the portfolio. This is obviously just my watch list that we're currently on here. I'll just tap down on the account value and it's £5,308 with free funds of 386. So if I remember rightly on my notes over here, I had 4,266 in my last portfolio update 6 weeks ago. Now obviously I did have 2 monthly inputs regarding the pot method, which of course I put in £250 I previously mentioned. So it does mean overall I have grown the portfolio to £750 just in the last 6 weeks. Now this is due to mostly Tesla, and due to kind of some of the moves that I've been making the last 2 or 3 months that you've seen also in past portfolio updates. Now, as we go through the portfolio, you can see what's kind of happened as well. But yes, I don't know if I mentioned, but obviously free funds of £386, so if anything does happen, I can kind of capitalise on that, average down, etc, etc. That's the plan anyway. So let's tap over to the portfolio, and you can see, let's go back to the month here, and you can see the blue line here is absolutely incredible. It's just gone up, up, and up, and up, and up. And we're currently sitting at £1,164 at the time of recording, which is obviously Tuesday. And Palantir earnings comes out in about 2 hours, so I'm anticipating good results there, hopefully, fingers crossed. And so yeah, you can see the dotted line here as well. This is where I'll be kind of going in and out of some stocks, just to average down, just to kind of flow with the market, make sure it's kind of, flowing well and being fairly safe, if you see what I mean. So in the process of that, I have sold a few NEO just to rebalance. I bought some Palantir. Now this isn't in order, this is just kind of how it's happened, because if I did it in order that would take ages for me to plan and obviously say as well. So I did actually have 200 shares of Nano Dimension to average that down, and you can see the price is now 612. I think it was something like 670 or something like that before. So I've averaged down quite nicely there, and then when it went to about 620, it was about here, maybe slightly before to be honest, 625. I did take out that 100 shares for a little bit of profit, and obviously kind of rebalance it down to what I actually want to put into the stock. So it's a risk, but it's kind of an educated risk on my behalf, at least in my opinion, of course. So let's just start at the top. So we've got American Battery Technology, ABML. This is an OTC market stock, and as you can see, yesterday in fact it pumped up quite nicely on a new contract news. I do expect that maybe just to kind of pull back a little bit, because it's not a huge contract, but it is a step in the right direction. And obviously not quite on the Nasdaq yet, but once they get onto the Nasdaq, I think maybe we might have a little bit more volume, bit more attention, and the stock might drive up a little bit through that. But obviously I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback, then I want to kind of add up to 200 shares just to cement that kind of initial position. But I've just kind of been edging in slowly. So as you can see, 150 shares at an average price of $1.30, sorry. So yeah, that's kind of where I am with American Battery Technology. If you don't know who they are, I do have a video on the top right hand corner you can watch. They're all about battery recycling. I think it's really interesting. It's an industry for the future, not necessarily in the next 1 or 2 years. So it's something to look forward to. Maybe you could check them out. So next up is Etsy, and as you can see in the last month or so, 23%. That's on top of the months they had before. Let's go to 3 months. So the last 3 months it's 46%. Now I actually had plans to, after earnings, I was anticipating slightly poorer earnings. And for some reason they went up 15% the day after earnings, even though they weren't great. But yeah, this is how it works in the stock market sometimes. But I was anticipating them to go down to about 226, 225, and that was going to be a time that I was actually going to buy more, 2 more, so I can average down and bring the price kind of up to 190. And as you can see here, it's currently 162, which is great, but the actual amount put in is not that high, due to me selling before to take profits to risk transfer, etc. But my conviction obviously in XE stays the same. It's just a shame I don't have more in it, but it is what it is. I'm up, and that's what's important. And we'll just see where it goes in the future. If it has a significant pullback down to the kind of 215, 220 range, I'll definitely be buying them, in my opinion. So yeah, that's kind of my plans with Etsy. They're doing very well. Obviously Christmas is coming up. They're going to be a very busy time with obviously all the personalised gifts, etc. And yeah, I've already bought a couple of things off there, so I think that says everything. So next up is Isaiah. Now obviously I do have a video on them as well. I'll stick it on the top right hand corner for you so you can have a look. It's a bit old, but I mean it tells you what they are, what they do, etc. But in the last 3 months they have gone from strength to strength. They've just, I mean I haven't actually moved stock wise, but they've gone from strength to strength in terms of new contracts, and I'm excited for their earnings tomorrow, if not earnings in the first quarter of next year. So we'll see where that goes, and I'm hoping for kind of a little bit of recovery because my average price is actually $3.78, which is, well, as you can see, 42% down, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. I'm holding out for a long term. Even if I get to level ground, I would probably cut the position to just a smaller position, more towards kind of American battery technology type of range. But obviously that has been my plan for a long time. But I did say a few months ago that I'm planning to wait for this one for a long time, and that's what I've been doing. Nano Dimension next up, and I did touch on this briefly a minute ago. And I did pile some money into this because I do have high conviction for this. They've just acquired another company, which I think is fantastic. Yoav Stern seems to be on the right track. He's got a lot of cash. I want to see where that cash is actually going, what it's actually implementing. But we'll see that in probably coming quarters, coming years. So this is obviously a long-term play for me, but I wanted to kind of average down because I really wanted to average down Nano Dimension. Ideally, I was going to get below $6, but if I get an opportunity, I will. But if not, it's not the end of the world. $6.12 is also good. But yes, now I've got 100 shares of that, and it's kind of sitting quite nicely in the middle of the pack of my portfolio. Next up, one of my big hitters, my second biggest holding, which is NEO. And as you can see, they've had a little bit of recovery over the last kind of month and a half, which is really, really nice to see. Obviously, the Chinese stocks in general have struggled, and NEO is, I think, lagging behind quite a lot behind the likes of Lucid, Tesla and all that, and all the EV momentum. So there's still a lot of room to grow. Obviously, like I said, they do have earnings coming out today, which is Tuesday. Obviously this video will be coming out on Sunday, so we'll see what's happened from there. But I have actually managed to average down again since the last video, down to below $37, which is great, especially for the long term. I won't be adding to this stock until there's a significant pullback way in the future, because I'm happy with the position it is currently in my portfolio. So next up is Palantir. So you can see in the last 3 months or so it's gone up 22%, which is great, but it also has gone up and it's come back down. But obviously, like I said, with earnings coming out in a couple of hours, it should be interesting to see where it goes. I'm hoping it will break 30 with good earnings, and if it hits bad earnings, we might see 22, 23 again, in which case I might pick up some more. And as you can see, I don't know if you've noticed, if you've paid attention to the last one, I have actually added quite a few more shares of this one, but it has brought the average price up to 20.44, and it was before I think 18.90 or something like that, so not a huge difference, which is great news considering how much I actually added. So I'm really happy with that. And next up is the big one, Tesla. The last 3 months has gone up 66%. Now I must admit, I think the last time I filmed this it was about 740. It's pretty much doubled. Well, not really, but it's gone up quite a lot since the last update, and an absolutely incredible performance from Tesla, to be honest with you. And it's actually quite exciting. You can see I'm up £867. I have been up almost £1,000 on this one recently, because it went up to about 1230, maybe even slightly higher. And it has pulled back slightly because of Elon's tweet, which is fair enough, it is what it is. But I'm holding this for the long term. I probably won't purchase anymore until the stock splits way in the future, whenever that may be, because traditionally after a stock split we have seen a little bit of a pullback, 30-40% I think it was last time. So if that happens, I will probably be picking up some more, but I'll see how that plays out. And for now I'm just going to ride the Tesla wave, no plans to sell it at all. It's obviously a long term 5-10 plus year stock for me. And then the last one we're going to look at is Twitter. Now you may be thinking, why on earth has he bought Twitter? And I bought it on the pure basis that it's got to be like a long swing for me. Now if you move on to the chart, you can see here it's kind of been up and down the kind of last year or so, and it has hit kind of a good solid baseline when it obviously dropped on earnings. It has poor earnings last week, as you can see here, little drop box. How do I get off that? Here we are. And I've drawn some lines as per some technical analysis. It could drop down to 49, which to me is a risk reward that I'm willing to take. My target is about 66, that's about 20%. I think let's just confirm that from where it is now up to there is 23%, which would be on about a £400 investment, which is going to be about an £100 gain. And depending where I am there, if I see bullish, if I see some good news, maybe some contracts or some monetization that they're doing, because they have just monetized spaces. I don't know if you've seen. Then I may look to the next level, which will be around about 73 up here somewhere. So then that'll be even more. Let's have a look at that, see what that gain would be from where we are today. It would be around about 36%, which is great. So I could probably half the position, maybe at 66, and then take the other half at 73, drop it, use the cash for a long-term position. Maybe Tesla's pulled back by then, maybe NIO's pulled back by then, who knows. We can use that cash wisely at that time. So going back to the portfolio, obviously Twitter, new position, it's currently down 1%, which I think is actually quite good considering the recent earnings results. And obviously it's kind of traded flat, which is actually quite good because it could be a nice little base moving forward. Of course it could break through that, but if it breaks through 49, I'll probably take the loss and cut the position and move on to bigger and better things, etc. Now moving on to this link, which I sold from last one, what I did actually do is I limited the loss. So obviously I think last time it was around about £70, currently sitting at a loss. I didn't want to take that much. In the end I took a £30 loss, which I thought was the right move, and obviously I moved into ABML because I saw ABML at the price of around 120, 125, which I thought was an ideal price entry, and obviously paying off at the moment because it's currently £21 up, which is great. And obviously we'll see what the future holds for American Battery Metals, but I feel a little bit more comfortable holding American Battery Metals rather than Vistlink Technologies, just because I know them more. I've researched them a little bit more, and Vistlink is, you know, it's a little bit different technology, but yeah, that's my thesis on that one. So let's just jump over quickly to the allocations. You can see Tesla has taken basically my portfolio by storm, but that's literally just because it's up so much. So obviously, hopefully in the next couple of months I'll be adding into these positions, obviously through my pot method. If there's any significant pullbacks in them, and I'll probably just add to them. Like Etsy is one I definitely want to add to, like I mentioned before, and Twitter I would probably add to as well, depending on where it's going. So then obviously all these bars will kind of come up and it will balance it a little bit more. Obviously American Battery Metals as well also come up there. So that's kind of the allocation, as you can see there. Make of that what you will. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the overall portfolio, as you can probably tell, because it's kind of up quite a lot, which is nice to see after a difficult year. And it just goes to show that all that hard work that I've gone into kind of researching the stocks and kind of entry points, when is a good time to buy, the mistakes I've made, the learnings I've made from the mistakes, and it's kind of paying off now. You can see I'm 31% up, over £1,000, which is great to see. So yeah, future is bright. See where it goes. So obviously this portfolio update has been a little bit longer, and that's due to just the amount of time it has been since the last one. I just want to explain a few things, where my head's at, what my plans are, that kind of thing. So my plans going forward are nothing really. I just want to see it play out. Obviously I've got that free cash sitting on the side, so if anything pulls back I may average down depending on what stock it is. But yeah, I have no plans to go into any more stocks. I like to keep it as a limit of 8. In fact, I had 9 at one point, and I was just like, no, I can't have this for some stupid reason. But yeah, I like to have it maximum 8, just because it's ideal for high growth. You can keep it on top of it a little bit more, at least in my opinion. And I'm kind of moving towards a bit more concentration on my swing trades, which obviously you can check out on my eToro portfolio updates. I'll stick it up in the top right hand corner so you can watch that if you like. But yeah, make sure you leave a comment down below. I'd really love to hear what your thoughts are on my portfolio. Maybe you want to share something about your portfolio, and we can kind of learn and bounce off each other that way with our knowledge, etc, etc. Make sure you check out my stock review playlist in the top right hand corner for you. You might pick up a new stock. I've done some recent ones in IPW, which is a fairly small stock, OEG, which is a renewable energy stock, and obviously all the other ones I've done. Volta Charging, which has skyrocketed recently. So yeah, check them out. I really do appreciate that. And with that being said, guys, make sure you invest safe, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Take care. But yeah, if you have any thoughts on my portfolio, and anything that you might add more. So in this week's portfolio, which you will see, I have seen massive gains due to kind of one stock really. No, it's giving it away, isn't it?